G'day guys, it's your old pal Nico here from the Bulldog Fanatic YouTube channel, and in today's video we're going to look at three Western Bulldogs players who have been slightly underwhelming to start the year. These three players are pretty well established and, I'm just keeping an eye on them. I'm not saying they should be dropped or anything, but they all came off career best years last year, and I'm just keeping my eye on them to see how they perform over the next few weeks because it just hasn't been the start that I would have wanted from these three players. And these three players are Bailey Dale, Sam Darcy, and Riley West. So let's get into the first player, which is Sam Darcy. Look, none of these players have been bad, but I'm just pointing out they've had a slightly slower start to the year than I would have liked, and Sam Darcy is one of them. Now, Sam Darcy was all the talk and all the hype in the preseason by myself and many other people out there in the footy space, and I don't know, I feel like he's a little overhyped in my opinion, and so far, he's been solid without being amazing. He's kicked the 7 goals from 3 games, and to be fair to him, he kicked that same amount from 3 games last year. But watching those 3 games last year, those first few games last year compared to these first few games of 2026, the eye test just looked a lot better with Sam Darcy last year, and just looking at the numbers, they looked better as well. So for Sam Darcy and his stats so far this year compared to last year, he's down on disposals from last year, 12.7 disposals compared to 14.2. He's down on marks. He averaged 6 marks a game last year. He's only averaging 3. Contested marks, he's above average still, but he took 3.1 contested marks, which is insane, but only 1 this year. His tackles have gone up. He averaged 1.5 tackles last year, and now he's up to 2.3, which is a very elite for a key forward. He averaged 2.8 goals last year, only 2.3 to start the year. He averaged 7.7 score involvements, which is really good, averaging only 5.3 score involvements, which is above average so far this year. And he's taking less shots a goal. He had 4.5 shots a goal last year compared to just 4.0 this year, which is still above average. So I'm not saying he's been bad, but just the stats show his impact just hasn't been there. And I think he's playing higher up the ground, which makes sense why he's taking less shots at goals. But also I think he's just been defended a lot better, and teams have just gone to homework on him more. Like he's getting pushed under the footy a little too much for my liking. It also doesn't help. We're not kicking into the advantage to him as much as we would have liked. Kicking into him on the lead. Instead, we're just kicking it a lot on his head, and that just makes it defending him a lot easier. And he's still quite skinny, even though he has built his muscle over the last few years. He is still quite skinny. So, yeah, that's why I think Sam Darcy had a slightly underwhelming start to the year. I just think defenders have played him a lot better, and he's playing higher up the ground. And also, he needs to stop giving away undisciplinary free kicks. Like, he gets annoyed at the umpire way too much. I understand why, because he probably should be, getting more free kicks. But, yeah, hopefully Darcy plays better against Essendon this weekend. And I'm confident he'll bounce back. He is a great player. He's still only 22, so maybe we should just hump the brakes on him. He's still only 22. So it's not exactly he's in his prime yet. But yeah, I'm just pointing out Sam Darcy for a slightly slower start to the year than I expected. Also, I forgot to mention Sam Darcy was playing with some sort of back injury, after State of Origin. So he has had an injury up to the second part of the preseason, and he wasn't doubt to play opening round. So maybe that's also part of the reason why he's had a slower start than usual. He's been playing over a bit of an injury plan, probably playing sore. So I'll give a bit of slack to Darcy there. So the next player I want to talk about is Riley West, the Bulldogs' premier small forward from 2025. Now, 2025 was a career best year for Westy, but so far he has started 2026 a bit slow, only kicking 1 goal in his first 3 games of the season. So not ideal. I mean, it's not essential to kick goals every game, but for our premier small forward to only kick 1 goal, it's not amazing to say the least. So 2025, he had a career year kicking 39 goals as well as averaging 13.6 disposals, 3.6 tackles, including 1.7 tackles inside 50. So all career highs, 13 pressure acts, 6.3 score involvements, 1.7 goals, 1 goal assist. He ranked 7th in tackles in inside 50 per game. He ranked 7th in total goal assists in 2025. So not only was he tackling and pressuring well inside 50, he was also setting up other players, with his elite ball use and smarts as a he really played as a midfielder growing up, so it's no surprise he has these like midfield type instincts, like giving the ball off to his teammates and stuff. So he's a pretty selfless teammate, Westy. So far this year, his stats have all dropped below And disposals have dropped along with tackles inside 50, pressure acts have dropped along with score involvements. Goal assist still averaging a 1 goal assist a game, which is good. Goals per game is very low as well, just kicking the 1 goal 3 games. So with Westy, I think my thing with Westy is that there's only Artie Jones, like a proper small forward, was only played an opening round, and since then in our last 2 games we haven't had like a other proper small forward. We've played like Cooper Hines and Sam Davidson as like, they're not small forwards, but we've played them like small forwards, like playing like deep forward roles. So Riley West's been like the only true premier small forward we've had in these last 2 games. And I just think, teams, defenses have saw Westy's career year last year kicking 39 goals and just like have put the clamps on him essentially. Like a lot of the lockdown defenders that I've seen in the first 3 weeks have just paid more attention to Westy and stuck to him more and not given him as much time and space. And he's also he's tried to use his strength of getting out of tackles and whatnot, and hasn't really worked. He's still setting up goals, he's just not getting on the end of them. And I think mainly because just teams are playing better defense on him, since considering he's our only like proper small forward right now, because Cody Waitman is out injured, and the other small forwards that are on the list are playing in the VFL right now. So yeah, we are going with a slightly taller forward line, and therefore Westy's like the premier small forward that teams, smaller medium defenders, are putting all their attention to. And that's why I think Westy's had a slightly slower start to the year. And I'm hoping last year wasn't just a flash in the pan of, of like just a truly great breakout year, and now he's gone back to being okay. I really hope that isn't the case, and I hope he starts to fire up in the next few weeks. And last but not least, it's Bailey Dale, our premier halfback flanker from last year, 2-time All-Australian now. He's had a slightly slower start to the year as well, like Darcy and West, but I think this one's makes more sense because in our first preseason game in Sydney, he had a slight MCL sprain on his knee, and he was very touch and go to play opening round. I'm surprised, honestly, he played opening round, so I can understand why he's had a slowish start. But Dale, yeah, he's down in disposal efficiency, marks, tackles, intercepts, score involvements, rebound 50s, meters gained, time on ground. They are all lower from last year, and his averages of 20.7 disposals, 77% disposal efficiency, 3.3 marks, 1 tackle, 4 intercepts, 3.7 score involvements, 3.3 rebound 50s, 332.3 meters gained, and 78.3% time on ground on average. They're his lowest averages since he became a halfback flanker in 2021. These are all lows in terms of him as a halfback flanker. So this is pretty unprecedented for him as a halfback flanker. But there was also other reasons, and I think the other reason is he's just not getting as much of the footy because we've got other options in our halfback. With halfbacks, with the arrival of Connor Boderick from the Suns, he's taking more kick-ins and distributing the ball more, as well as debuting Lockie Jakes. So he's getting a lot of kick-ins as well, and we're giving the ball to him a lot at halfback. So I think there's a lot of reasons why Dale's had a slower start to the year and why his numbers are a lot down. But I think he'll come good, but I don't know if he'll average the stats like he did last year and be all-Australian quality, because I just think when we're using other distributors in our defense, when kicking the ball out and rebounding. It's not just all through him now, which is probably a good thing, to be honest, because it felt like over the last couple of years we are relying on Dale too much to be our main distributor from halfback, but it's good to see we have other options. But I have noticed that he's just been a little bit off, but he is probably playing underdone, and the bye we've just had is probably going to do him wonders. I'm confident Dale will bounce back and play really well again and be one of the premier halfbacks of the competition. So yeah. So anyway, guys, that's the end of the video. I really hope you enjoyed. Just a quick little video discussing 3 really good Bulldogs players who had awesome seasons last year. They've just had a slower start to the year than I would have liked, but there are circumstances. They're all very good players, and I'm sure they'll all come good later in, as the season goes on. Some players just have slow starts to the year, and these 3 just happen to be having slower starts to the year. But that's okay, because we're 3-0, despite the fact these 3 players haven't had the best starts to the season. So I'm confident all of Bailey Dale, Sam Darcy, and Riley West will get better as the season and as the weeks go on. But anyway, guys, that's the end of the video. Hope you enjoyed this little video. The preview for the Essendon game will be out in a few days' time, so can't wait to preview that. Anyway, guys, hope you enjoyed the video. Stay safe, and as always, go you mighty Bulldogs. See you next time.